The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, otherwise known as the DSM, is the Bible for mental health professionals. And starting in 2013, it will no longer list narcissistic personality disorder. Why? Perhaps because narcissism has become completely intertwined with the fabric of our society. The current version of the DSM defines narcissism as intense self-absorption and a grandiose sense of self.
Sounds familiar.
The idea that one is owed greatness, whatever their talent. It seems that has become part of the zeitgeist. The idea that everyone deserves a camera crew or a microphone to broadcast everything about them. Fame is not the reward for developing a talent, it's the end in and of itself. It's the reward for photobombing the culture. I grew up in something often called Generation Me, but when I look at the current world, I can't remember why that fit us. This is Generation Me, or maybe Generation Look at Me. There's countless reality shows of different sorts that are ultimately a big look at me. Much of what's on YouTube is born from people's intense desire to be seen, even if you willingly slaughter your dignity to get those eyeballs. We have Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, Foursquare, and myriad blogging tools that are built to allow us to tell the world everything we're thinking, as if every thought we have should be shared. This deep national navel gaze extends throughout the culture, from the movie phenomenon of the year Inception, which took our dreams over seriously, to this week's entry into Movie of the Year category, Black Swan, about how a ballerina's peculiar perception of the world comes to dominate her reality. The album of the year is Kanye's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which is all about Kanye and his response to being nationally hated after his narcissism ran amok and he embarrassed himself with Taylor Swift. So unchecked narcissism got him in trouble, and now deeply considered narcissism set to a funky beat leads him out of it. The lane for national it girl that was once dominated by Paris Hilton, who at least gave us unending psychodrama, i.e. Look at Me for a Reason, has been taken over by Kim Kardashian, who gives us no drama at all, just beauty, i.e. an unending request to just look at her, which is very easy. But still, maybe we're all looking for validation we missed in childhood, bringing ourselves to show and tell, hoping attention will make us feel loved. And maybe if we're all hyper-narcissistic at the same time, it'll be okay, because we'll all be crazy together.
So I've got a series of questions here for you. First off, you mentioned the removal of the classification of the narcissistic personality disorder. Did you look into why that was, and was it in fact removed because everybody's a narcissist?
I mean, I don't know exactly why the psychologists are removing it, but it seems that they're just not going to take this seriously as a psychological disorder any longer. And I feel like it is partly because these traits have receded into the public view, like the ocean moving back away from the sand. It's just that's part of who we are now, so it's not necessary to point that out. There's 4 other disorders that are going away also, so the DSM changes every single time.
And when you look at all this and how social media and Twitter and all these things encourage this type of behavior, does it disgust you?
You know, I think there are good ways of sharing, and there's oversharing. I wouldn't say it all disgusts me. Some ways of sharing are good. Some ways of sharing are too much, and we don't need to know that much about you, and you become just a person just to share versus sharing at a valuable level. Yeah. So it matters what you're doing.
And then I guess my last question, the other thing that kind of occurred to me as we were sitting there was, how does your rant on narcissism fit into the fact that we are here on national television presenting Touré's Turn, which I believe your name is Touré, on the Dylan Ratigan show, hosted by none other than, thank you very much, Dylan Ratigan?
I mean, hopefully people will develop a talent. Hopefully we've developed a talent for sharing ideas and broadcasting rather than just trying to be famous just for the point of it.